Hello, and welcome to Some Kind of Podcast. This is a podcast where we entertain you by discussing what entertains us. I'm Cody, this week's host, and I'm joined by Tim
Hello.
and Christian.
Hello.
So before we get into this, I obviously you guys probably can't tell, but we're recording this a few days late, and we're gonna let Christian tell us why before the drugs kick in too hard. So Christian, you want to explain what's going on?
Yeah, so we're recording this a couple days late, as Cody said, because on Monday of this week, I felt all confident, because I'm still going to classes, finishing up my education, and had a presentation on campus. Felt good about it. Made an A. Left class. Treated myself to a nice little Starbucks coffee. Was walking across campus, and then about halfway to my destination, I slipped on ice because there was like a weather advisory warning going through the area, and there's a bunch of ice and uh, bad weather conditions going on, and I slipped and fell, and my right knee slammed down onto an iron drain grate and broke in half. So yeah, that was the start to my week.
I think
Uh,
that's the first time I ever heard you say that you actually fell on an iron grate. I don't think you told me that up until right now.
Yeah, so like there was this brick courtyard area where it was like covered in ice. And as a disclaimer, they had not put any salt down yet. So like they were not ready for students to be on campus. They totally should have canceled. Um, but yeah, so I slipped on that, and then like right next to where I slipped, of course, there's this strategically placed iron drain grate that I slammed my right knee down onto. It broke my kneecap in half, and then actually tore apart one of the tendons that's attached to it.
Every time I hear you say you broke your kneecap in half, my stomach like churns, man.
Yeah, it does a flip.
Yeah, it was really gross.
Mm-mm.
When I was sitting, so I was taking my ambulance to the emergency room, and then I was sitting in a wheelchair, ready to get reeled back to get my X-rays taken, and my knee was, my leg was bent, and of course in the wheelchair, but you could see this like almost tumor-looking thing on my lower thigh, and it was just the top half of my kneecap that had surged upwards into my leg, and it just looked like one of those little like locust bugs from the Mummy movie that you see just lurking beneath the skin.
Oh God.
And yeah, and so to come to find out, they took me back to get an X-ray taken, and the X-ray technician kept trying to tell me to straighten my leg, and I was like, I freaking can't, like I literally can't. And coming to find out a little while later, when the doctor, she was like, yeah, the reason you can't straighten your leg is because like every single muscle and tendon that's required to do that motion is disrupted right now. We're literally gonna have to bend it and straighten it for you. So they had to do that, put my leg in a splint, sent me home with some nice pain meds and some crutches. On Tuesday, I went in to see an orthopedic surgeon for a consultation for the surgery that was supposed to take place on Wednesday morning. And so then I went in for the surgery, and yeah, I've been pretty much hopped up on pain meds and out of sorts all week long.
Yeah.
So I think the real question here and the most important question is, were you at least able to enjoy the Starbucks?
No, I wasn't. In fact, I was very pissed because I somehow destroyed my knee.
Mhm.
The coffee was fine. Like, the coffee was right next to me on the sitting on this like, snowy day, like mid-teens weather, and all snow on the ground and everything. And somehow like the lid stayed on. A bit had like run up through the like little spout where you drink from, and it landed in my hair. So I had like dried coffee in my hair all day long when I was in the ER. But then when my wife Ashley met me at the emergency room, she brought my coffee with her because I never got a chance to drink it. And she was like, "Well, here's your coffee." And then the nurse was like, "Well, he can't drink that because we're about to give him medicine that he's not allowed to have caffeine on it." And I was like,
Oh,
"This freaking sucks. So you're gonna take the one thing that I was excited about today with and just take it away from me."
dang.
Ugh. So I've spent all week long trying to like email professors, email my boss at work, basically being like, "Hey, I'm kind of messed up right now. I'm gonna get a little behind." And they're like, "Oh God, yeah, yeah, you do what you got to do. Just take care of yourself first, and we'll worry about everything else later." So I'm still trying to play catch up as Ergo, why we're recording this late.
So yeah,
Oh.
disclaimer: Christian's on drugs, so this
Oh, yeah.
episode might be kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he literally popped a pill right before we started recording. So I feel like a gradual decline is going to happen at some point.
In my defense, I was starting to feel some pain, so I wanted to
Oh
nip
no,
that in the bud.
we're not
No.
complaining. I think it's going to be hilarious, but
If you hear some bleeps later in the show, just know that's Cody having to go in and edit because I get a little too free with my speech when I'm hopped up on drugs. So
it's fine, man. It's fine. I'm editing, Tim's Resident Evil playthroughs and
What you guys should watch.
Beep Central.
You
Let me
guys,
tell
but
you,
like anybody watching this, listen to this, should watch.
Beep Central.
Yeah,
So good.
I get a little free with my language when I'm being frustrated by not even zombies. I don't even know what they are.
Parasite people. I don't even know.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So Cody's used to it because I curse like a sailor.
Yeah, it's all right, bud.
It's good content.
yeah,
Oh gosh. So yeah. That was just, for your benefit, so if Christian seems off, that's why.
yep. I'll be off my game for a little while now. I think I have have to wear the splint for 12 weeks. Is kind of my estimated recovery period. I think around the 4 to 6 week mark, I'm able to like switch up to a slightly more like bendable splint,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm actually able to like start like actually kind of putting some weight down on it. But I'm not fully recovered for like 12 weeks.
So when I had my traumatic dislocation of my knee, it didn't break in half or anything like that. It literally just slid to the back of my leg. It was really weird. I was just in a knee brace for like 2 years, but I had to do physical therapy for like 8 months. Are you gonna have to do that after the 12 weeks, or is that during?
Both, I think. So like they every 2 weeks I go into the orthopedic surgeon and they start bending it a little bit more and a little bit more of a degree or an angle, and then they're doing physical therapy during that process, and then they put my leg back in the splint, and then at the end of that 12-week process, it's when the bone. So I guess going back, the bone was the my kneecap was split and broke into two. They screwed those pieces back together, and then they screwed a hole in the bottom of the kneecap and surgically in place the tendon back in where it should have been. And so the time span that that's all supposed to take to quote unquote heal is about 12 weeks.
Right.
But like what Cody was just saying, like it's going to take a lot of physical therapy on top of that to get my actual like range of motion and actually ability to use the knee pre incident, probably quite a bit longer than that. So we'll see.
Well, honestly, physical therapy really wasn't that bad. Like, I mean, it was difficult. But like in a lot of ways, it was nice. I mean, I lost like 40 pounds doing physical therapy. Like, it's a good workout, to be honest.
Just hopping around on my my one leg, I can already feel like the muscles in my left leg getting like super beefed up, and I can just feel the muscles in my right leg just slowly deteriorating. Just in
You're
like
gonna
the
have like
past week.
one beefy leg and one like little skinny tiny one.
Yep.
Oh, what is it in Borderlands? The crazy psychos that have like the tiny arm.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be like that, except it's your leg.
It's your leg. Oh God, you're gonna be fine, bro. I promise. It's gonna be okay.
We'll see.
All right. So moving on past gross bone stuff. So we've got a segment that we like to call "What You Playing, What You Watching." But I think we're gonna kind of narrow that down specifically to WandaVision because, at least for us, not as much Tim.
Good to say, thank you.
I know that. To be fair, though, you didn't like the first 2 episodes.
I didn't hate them.
No, but
I didn't. I mean, obviously, okay. Obviously, I knew it was leading up to something.
sure.
You know, I mean, you can even get that if you're not really paying so much attention to the show. But I mean, it's weird that it was a 1950s kind of like sitcom kind of deal for the first like 2 episodes. I guess it's going up 10 years, like essentially almost every episode, I guess.
Yeah, well
decade.
they picked specific sitcoms to base it on. So like episode 1 was I Love Lucy, episode 2 was Bewitched. Um was 3 the one where they did the reverse blip, or was that 4?
4 was the one where the reverse blip happened.
Okay, cuz one of them was like Full
Oh
House.
no, yeah, it was 4. Yeah.
I think they're just moving up sitcoms.
Okay.
Um
So my biggest thing with the beginning of WandaVision was I feel like the first 2, maybe even 3 episodes could have just been like an episode. Like I think they just took too long to get to that cliffhanger part of like, oh wow, there's some like cool stuff going on in the background. And
yeah.
I think they took a little too long getting to that, like, catching audience and viewers like attention, because I mean people were gonna watch it regardless because it's Marvel, but
Um, I mean, I think that they just did like that because they wanted it to be like this is the I Love Lucy episode and this is the Bewitched episode.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what I did it. But I'm kind of on Christian's side where I don't know. I feel like they're doing this thing because they did it with the Mandalorian too, where like all the episodes aren't like consistently one length.
No,
You
it actually
know?
bothers me.
Eh,
And I get that, with streaming platforms, you don't have to have consistent lengths because you don't have to worry about commercial time.
Right.
But like one episode of WandaVision is like 30 minutes, and then like episode 4, which was obviously a big episode and kind of like the turning point of, at least for you guys and most people on the show, was like 47 minutes long.
Yeah. I honestly think that each episode should have been an hour because it's honestly how I felt about the Mandalorian too. Like while I
Yeah.
love the Mandalorian, I still feel like the episode should have been longer. Um, but I mean, I get that money and schedules for actors and stuff like that. You got to do what you got to do. But I don't know. I get what they did. I wish they just put it together and made it a long episode. That's just me.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you could have worked some more of that Kat Denning stuff and Jimmy Woo um, into that, you know, a little bit better.
Yeah,
Maybe just kind of intersperse it as they're like switching between um, television decades or whatever, just to kind of, space it out. But I mean, I don't really have a problem with the pacing of the show. I think, it's doing what it needs to be doing right now.
well, now it's like cooking.
Well, yeah, but that's because, that now there's actually like more like, oh, this is what's actually going on kind of deal. And
Yeah.
I think what it is that, like, and no offense to you guys when I say this, but people nowadays just aren't patient.
I mean, I'll own up to
I'm
that
not patient at
in a
all.
heartbeat. I want what I want in that moment. And I
Yeah.
don't want to wait for it at all. So
Yeah, see, I'm a very patient person to an extent. To an extent, there are some times where I'm not very patient, but I can wait. It doesn't bother me. Like I get, maybe it's just because I consider myself a storyteller, and I've always liked to build tension and come to the grand crescendo of things, and have mysteries and subplots that actually like reveal themselves. So like I always enjoy that kind of stuff. So for me, like having those episodes just kind of like, okay, cool, I'll wait next week and see what happens, because every week it was going to be something a little bit more and a little bit more. um so yeah, I mean, I guess it's just, I don't have a problem with pacing, but I get why most people don't, because we live in an age of instant gratification. So
Yeah.
you don't have to wait for anything.
Like I know it's not necessarily part of this discussion, but like it's sort of the are you a pro binger or would you rather it come out weekly like you know Disney's doing?
And I mean, I know we're not, again, this is a segue, but like it depends. I mean, like for instance, I just binged all of BoJack Horseman. I watched
Right.
all 6 seasons,
But see,
and in like
I
2 weeks.
couldn't do that. Like I mean I can and I have, but I mean like you probably watched it like episode to episode, right?
I mean, it was like one of those things where I sat, if I was sitting down and watching it, especially because like a show like BoJack, and even like WandaVision. They're only like 30 minutes a piece. So yeah, I can just sit there and, in an hour I can watch 3 episodes, and if the season's only 12 episodes long, which BoJack usually is, yeah, I'm gonna watch it all in like a 2-week period because I'm watching 3 episodes in an hour.
Right, but I guess what I mean is like if that were me, I would get to an episode where I'd be like, they would have some kind of cliffhanger, and I'd be like, I need to know if like these two are going to end up together or something, and I'll skip ahead to read description of the episode and be like, oh, they finally made it together, good, and then I can go back and watch it because like I need that instant, like I need to know, so that's
I don't
why
need any descriptions for anything, because I don't want to know anything.
and so that's the thing. I don't think that like. That's why, like, I like that, you can binge, like Netflix. Whenever they put a series out, you can just binge the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on, like, my mood. Like, I feel like I need it to be episodic, like Disney's doing,
Mm-hmm.
because then I can't go ahead and ruin it for myself. Because it's like compulsive for me to do it when I watch like a Netflix show. I'm like, I gotta know how this resolves, and then I can enjoy the show.
It doesn't really matter for me so much because, like I said, it depends on my mood. Like, I have no problem waiting a week, but I also like that's what I was. That's what that's what you're used to. Waiting a week is what you're used to. Monday nights at 7 o'clock, you watch WandaVision if it was on network television,
Right.
and then you have to wait a week. So that's what I'm used to. So I'm not so far gone to where like I have to binge things. I don't mind waiting because again, I can't stress this enough. I really classify myself as a storyteller, so I enjoy the story, and I don't want to know anything. I don't even want I don't even like watching previews all that much for things because I don't want to know anything. If I'm going to be invested in this, then I want to be along for the ride, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on whatever it is. Like for the Star Wars stuff, like I tried, like I really hated watching the trailers, but like they put it out, so I had to watch it. But it was like if I had like any kind of willpower to avoid it, or people didn't share stuff on social media, it would have been perfect. But that's where I am.
Yeah, I'm also like on a very much a anti-social media kick right now for personal reasons. So if it's not really much to do with this podcast, I'm not paying attention to it. So I don't like when Steven texted us the other day. I was like, make sure you watch WandaVision because there's a huge spoiler on Facebook. I was like, I'm not gonna see that.
So that to segue into that, because we've all seen that episode, and by the time this comes out, another episode has already aired.
Yeah, it'll be episode 7 at this point.
Well, I think episode 6. Yeah, it'll be episode 6. This comes out
That's
the
right.
week
We're
of
recording
episode.
This a little bit late.
Yeah, because we're recording this late. So we won't talk about episode 6. You guys haven't even seen it. I watched it this morning, but I won't talk about that. But episode 5, they had that big Quicksilver.
Yes. Spoiler alert. So right now, look away if you haven't seen it yet. But Evan Peters shows up as Quicksilver at the end of the last episode of WandaVision, which is obviously not the guy that was originally Quicksilver in the
Aaron Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, it's not that guy. He's the guy from the First Class movies.
Yeah. And
the ones that was Fox originally, and then Disney bought Fox, so they have the rights to it now.
So obviously with WandaVision, it's 5 years. Well, WandaVision takes place like 2 weeks or so after the blip, the reverse blip.
After they beat Thanos,
yeah,
no one comes back.
Because
so after Endgame.
Yeah, it's right after Endgame.
Yeah.
Because it's like Endgame happened, and then I guess she found out where Vision's body had been kept, and then tracked it down, steals it back, and then does a weekend at Bernie's thing. It's really weird.
What an awesome analogy.
It's true though. It like he's dead, but she's pretending like he's not. So we still don't understand complexity of whatever's happening there. And then she, I guess, like hijacks this town. But I'm in the camp that I don't think she quite understood what happened. Like, I don't think, I don't even know that she necessarily caused it to happen. Or if she did, if it was subconscious.
Well, I mean, I think they're alluding that her powers came from the Reality Stone, right?
Yeah, it did. They did.
So she can control reality. So she could be doing this.
I also think that that's how they're going to explain the mutants. I think they're going to say that the Reality Stone, like during, I don't know, it created mutants or something.
The real question I have going into this week's episode, and I don't know if it's answered at any point in episode 6, 'cause I haven't seen it yet, but is Evan Peters actually there, or is that just like Wanda? Because at the end of the episode, like Kat Dennings is like, she recast Quicksilver. Like, is he actually there as Quicksilver, or is this just some like reality that Wanda's concocting?
So they I don't think that they answered it in the episode. Disclosure, when I watched it, I was half asleep, so
Okay.
I don't really remember. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. But I think that it is Pietro,
Okay.
right? It's her brother.
Well, she
but
calls him Pietro.
But the question is it legitimately the X-Men universe Pietro or Peter Maximoff in those movies?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Aaron Taylor Thomas's Pietro, but like different because like her grief couldn't handle it or something, so they picked a different Pietro's face or something.
I don't know.
And
it's an interesting way to insert the X-Men into the Marvel universe.
Yeah, so like it pulls up a lot of obviously they're doing a multiverse stuff at some point, because Doctor Strange's movie is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like it's in the title. So they're doing multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
And
this is probably good. It's going to lead into that.
Yeah. I think that they were saying that this is tying into the Doctor Strange movie. And I think the running theory is that Wanda is not so much the villain, but the antagonist in that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like, I don't think she's like, a bad guy. I think it's just, I think they're going to continue that, like, her emotions are getting the better of her kind of thing.
She's like the red herring bad guy. Like, she's not like the actual bad guy. She's not like, I mean, yeah, she has people kept hostage right now, but she's not a bad quote unquote guy.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I don't know if it's one of those things where there's somebody else secretly pulling the strings and even she doesn't realize it.
No, I think she just wants to be happy with Vision and can't bear the grief of him actually being dead, because there's that one scene where like you actually see him without his Mind Stone, all dead-eyed and grayed and whatnot, but you can't even bear to look at him.
Right.
So do you think this is a way of bringing the X-Men into the current MCU, or just the way of introducing the multiverse then?
I think both. I think that's the popular theory, is that that this is Evan Peters' depiction, like version of Quicksilver, and that either Wanda subconsciously pulled him out of another universe, like her powers are working almost like they have a mind of their own, and they pulled him out of another universe to ease her pain, or she pulled her actual dead brother's body and put a different face on him subconsciously because she can't look at him or something. Like, there's so many different things, but I want to believe that he's from the X-Men universe and that she somehow pulled him from that universe into this one. Or I think my favorite theory so far that I've read is that her doing all this is somehow bleeding into other universes, and that like Professor X is picking up on it, and it's messing with stuff that they're doing, and they sent Quicksilver because of his speedster abilities or whatever they figured out how to get to another universe using his ability, and so they sent him to figure out what's going on. Or it's, a combination of both where like he's like if you've watched those X-Men movies, he never connects with Magneto the way he wanted to.
No.
Like he never gets that like I'm your son. Like he had the moment and then he didn't do it.
Yeah, wasn't that in Apocalypse?
Yeah, it was in Apocalypse because he like Magneto looks at him and he's like, "Why are you here?" And he's like, I'm here for my family too," or something like that.
Yeah.
So it could be like a weird combo of like they were both grieving at the same time. Like he wants to connect with his real family and she misses her family. And then somehow wires got crossed and her powers brought him in.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Either way, I mean, I hope it does lead into it. I mean, if they bring back Michael Fassbender, because I guess they could get Ian McKellen to do Magneto, but
I mean,
like Michael Fassbender would probably be the best option in my opinion.
Well, judging by timelines, like,
because you also got to remember, First Class is supposed to take place in like the 80s,
right? So that's what I'm saying. Like the timelines don't really make sense in the X-Men universe. Like, if we're to believe that First Class and Apocalypse, and then Dark Phoenix is supposed to take place in the 90s.
Yeah.
So if Magneto looks like Michael Fassbender in the 90s, then, by 2020, he wouldn't look like Ian McKellen.
No.
You know what I mean? He wouldn't be that old. So I think that was one of the reasons in Deadpool, like, they made that joke. He was like, like, these timelines are so confusing. Like, I feel like X-Men with, like, Ian McKellen and what's his face?
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart, thank you. I feel like
how dare you forget Captain Picard?
I didn't like Star Trek. Anyway,
ooh, hot take.
I feel like those movies have to take place in like 2050 or something. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, listen. What it boils down to is that they did the original X-Men movies with Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, and then, I mean, you can say what you want about them. I didn't think they were that great. And then they're like, let's like try to do them as younger people. So then they brought in Michael Fassbender and oh man, who played
the dude from Wanted? I don't remember his name.
Oh, it's James McAvoy.
Yeah, there you go.
Boom. They brought in James McAvoy to play Professor X. Anyway, and it didn't make sense, but they were trying something new, and then they tied it all together, which is when it stopped making sense again. I wish they would have just done a whole thing with First Class with just them. And I love Ian McKellen and Stewart, but they didn't need to be in the franchise, in my opinion.
No.
Anyway, long story short, I mean, it's probably bringing X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even if it was just like a test of waters kind of thing. I mean, who knows if they're going to be in it more, like in the actual like Avengers MCU brackets in the future. This is just leading into Doctor Strange.
So there's a spinoff question. Is that for both of you? I guess. Do you want them to be part of the MCU universe, or do you want them to like crossover, then go back to their own universe, despite the fact that Disney owns them? But like, do you want them to be part of like the canonical MCU timeline, or just briefly pop in and then pop back out into their own thing?
There's too many Avengers as there are. I know a couple of them died, and they're going to do probably like the new Avengers or something like that in the future, which I think Quicksilver is a part of. I don't know enough about the comics.
Technically, they all are in the comics.
It would be cool if like they did little things like that, but I don't think they should be always in the MCU. I think they should just go do their own thing, and that's the same with Deadpool too. I do not want to see Deadpool as an Avenger.
Well, I don't think he ever is an Avenger. I think he's always been sort of a mercenary by trade.
Yeah, but
so
with
like,
the popular franchises, you just never know.
Yeah.
Christian?
So yeah, I don't think they should be a permanent addition to the MCU, at least the one that we know, that's owned by and operated and distributed by Disney. Um, I'd be okay if they have like the occasional crossover and the X-Men come in and kind of do their thing, and then leave. Personally, I didn't care for the overall casting of the original X-Men X2 or X-Men 3 of the early 2000s. And to be honest, I don't it's not so much the casting of the First Class series as it is just I don't think the newer movies were done great either. So, like, I don't think it would like, the only character like that like, I feel like the character, the character's plot, and the actor or actress choice was done well was Wolverine, and they killed him off in Logan, so,
Yeah.
like, I is that the whole X-Men universe has been distance from the rest of the MCU for so long now that like I didn't feel like there was an X-Men void that needed to be filled. Like if they do a crossover, cool, but I definitely don't think that there needs to be a focal point on them trying to bring them into the MCU.
Well, so I sort of agree and disagree with both of you. Like I would like them to be a permanent addition to the MCU. However, I don't think that they should be part of like, like the Avengers movies going forward necessarily. Maybe like one or two. I do think though they have a cop out with this multiverse stuff. They can easily say that, the events of Logan or the events of any of the X-Men movies happened in another universe and just use the same actors in another timeline kind of thing.
Yeah, but you talking about the First Class ones? Is that what you said?
Yeah, because more than likely, like, no offense to Ian McKellen or Patrick Stewart, they're kind of old now,
Yeah, I
and
So
think
is
we
Hugh
should
Jackman.
also. I think we should also put Hugh Jackman on that list because
he's
hello.
not as old, but he's old.
But no, no, I just no. I'm not even saying about old. I just mean like old, as in like I've seen him as Wolverine enough. It's
Oh yeah,
old
he's been
now.
Wolverine for like 20 years. Although he did say he'd come back if Disney was making the movies.
I think if they bring Wolverine back into the picture, and if like just as a character, not even the whole franchise, if they wanted to make or if they wanted to make Wolverine an actual member of the Avengers, I'd be on board with it. But I wouldn't want Hugh Jackman to play it. I'd want them to recast it.
Yeah, and so the the problem is I feel like Disney is not ballsy enough to do that because they
Maybe.
after after the Star Wars debacle, whether you love them or hate them, um, and I personally I love the movies for what they were. I don't agree with what Kathleen Kennedy did, and like we'll try to do the Marvel thing, and we'll have three different directors make these movies, and it didn't quite work out. The visions didn't really sync up, and then they canned the third director and just brought the J.J. Abrams back. But I think after that, they're going to be hard pressed to try and recast Logan, especially if they can get Hugh Jackman and he's willing to do it. Because right now, I think that there's rumors of them doing. Because I want to say that they said that they signed Chris Evans to do like three more Captain America movies, but it would be set during the time like pre World War II or in the time that he goes back in time to live with Peggy. And so they were talking about doing a movie with him and Wolverine while Wolverine was in, those wars.
I mean, I guess maybe I just feel like it's the perfect time to like hit that reset button and do something fresh. I mean, I love Hugh Jackman, I love Chris Evans, but like they've been doing this for so long, especially Hugh Jackman. It's like give somebody else a turn. I don't know.
Yeah, like that plot line sounds very appealing, and I would love to see a Captain America and Wolverine tag team movie. But I feel like at this point it's like 5 or more years too late. Like they both, as far as like they're both of their ages and just like how much has been done with both of their characters in various movies over the past however many years. Like I just think if they were going to do something like that, it should have been done a
Well,
while ago.
they can get away with a lot with Chris Evans. I mean, like he is, I think he's in his 40s or whatever, but um, they can make him look young. He's still in good enough shape that they can make him look young, and it wouldn't be a
I
problem.
mean, Mark Hamill as young Luke Skywalker was pretty convincing. So
But that was a deep fake.
I know.
Um,
You talking about like the end of Mandalorian?
yeah.
No, well, either way.
Um,
They can get around it.
Yeah.
The age doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm just saying, like, if I see Hugh Jackman, it's just gonna be like, eye roll. Here we go, Hugh Jackman.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the only time that I could see Hugh Jackman reprising his role as Wolverine and just being like completely blissfully okay with it is if there was like a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool Wolverine mashup of the two. But it would be more of a comedic movie than anything.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, let's put it this way: if they decide to do it, I'll watch it. I just think that they should try something new.
Mhm.
So, who would you cast for Wolverine? Because
James Franco.
James-
I'm just kidding.
Oh no.
Because I mean, Hugh Jackman. The problem with Hugh Jackman being Wolverine for 20 years is that he's the only person I can see being Wolverine.
Well, that's because you don't know anything else.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I know that like the internet was kicking around Daniel Radcliffe doing it at one point, but I don't know how serious that was.
God, I hope not. I'd rather see what's his fate? R. Pat.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, I'd rather see
Or
him.
Pat.
R.
He's
Pats.
gonna glitter.
Well, I mean,
He's gonna be all sparkly.
he's Batman now, so he finally made it
I mean-
to becoming a bat.
I mean, you never know. Like everyone, I just want to point out that everyone, pooed all over Heath Ledger being the Joker, and now he's one of the best Jokers ever.
I mean, yeah.
So you never know. Robert Pattinson could be good as Batman. Daniel Radcliffe could be good as Wolverine. You got to give him a chance.
I'm withholding judgment on R. Pat until I see the movie.
Yeah.
So I personally really miss select of them the Marvel series that Netflix put out. So the guy who played the Punisher,
Joe Bernthal,
Joe Bernthal,
something like that.
I think he'd make a great Wolverine.
Shane from
honestly.
Walking Dead.
Shane from Walking Dead. I could see it.
Um,
But he's also, getting up in age. Like, he's not a young dude.
If they're gonna bring over anybody, by the way, from like this whole like other universe kind of thing, I really want Charlie Cox to be in there as Daredevil.
I do too. That's why with WandaVision, I really hope that they do more of these like multiverse pullovers. Like, I hope that other characters show up, whether they're the actual people or not. I want them to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, they could always just make Keanu Reeves the new Wolverine.
He's so hot right now. So hot right now.
Or what's the guy from Star Wars? Oscar Isaac, the guy who plays the pilot.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, they just cast Pedro Pascal as Joel in the Last of Us show on HBO. Why not
Yeah.
just have him do it? He fit, just typecast him as just like the loner older guy that like, has to take care of a lost child.
Just make yeah. I didn't even realize that until right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what Last of Us is.
I didn't even realize. Well, that's because I've never really. I mean, I've kind of played The Last of Us, but I didn't really get like into it like everyone else is. But anyway, I mean, just cast The Rock. Just cast The Rock. He can be Wolverine. He's big enough. I believe it. I believe The Rock is anything.
He wouldn't even need claws. You just, use his fists.
I want to see Wolverine like rock bottom somebody. Let's just cast The Rock. Just cast The Rock. What else is he doing besides everything? Just cast The
Him
Rock.
or Vin Diesel.
Hashtag cast The Rock.
Anyway, okay, we got to move on. we were talking about WandaVision and then we tangent, but that's fine. Let's move on to this week's Steven suggestions, real quick, which is Mountain Dew Major Melon. And I got to be honest, when I first tasted it, I thought it was like a solid 8. But the more I've had it, I swear, like
Okay.
every
let's
time
put an
I've
asterisk
had it, it's gone down.
Let's put an asterisk right here because you only could find it buying it in like the 6-pack of bottles.
Well, so I found the first time I had it, I found like the like 20-ounce bottle.
Okay.
And that's at a gas station. That was the first time I had it.
Okay.
And then since then, I got these, 16-ounce bottles. That was like a 6-pack. Same kind of bottle, just a little bit less liquid.
All right. So I also drank one, the first one I found. Well, the first and only one I've had. I've not been overwhelmed by it like you may have been. Was also at the gas station. And listen, I'm more of a darker kind of soda guy, which I'm not even trying to drink soda right now because I'm trying to be healthier. But I had one because it was suggested by Steven. And I do love Mountain Dew though, over Sierra Mist, which I guess Sierra Mist is like the Sprite thing. What's the Mellow Yellow?
Mellow Yellow.
Mellow Yellow. I prefer Mountain Dew over Mellow Yellow. Obviously, there's way more flavors in Mountain Dew. And this was good. I still think Baja Blast is the best Mountain Dew. But you can only get that in limited supply, or if you go to Taco Bell. So, I don't really get the chance to drink it all that much. So maybe I just don't have it as often as I can to other Mountain Dews. But it was okay. I enjoyed it. Christian?
Yeah, so I don't know. It was something about I was excited when I found it, and I just don't think that. So, like me personally, whenever somebody, a brand or a company does something that's watermelon flavored, they either dial up the watermelon flavor too much or not enough. And I honestly don't know like which this would fall into, because I was not like super impressed by it, but I wasn't like super let down either. It also kind of had a weird aftertaste to me. I don't know if it was just the batch that I got or what. But
It's the artificial watermelon that they used. That's the aftertaste.
So I get what you're kind of saying, Christian, because Mountain Dew had like a pink lemonade one that came out recently, and
Yeah.
that was really good. I really liked that one. I can't forget what it's called, but like that was really good. But this kind of tastes like a flat version of the pink lemonade, if that makes sense.
No,
Yeah.
actually, because you said that, I want to say the last one I drank, when I finished it, I sort of got a hint of pink lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they used the base of that pink lemonade Mountain Dew and then added like artificial watermelon flavor. But I mean, it tastes like carbonated, melted watermelon Jolly Ranchers, but not in a good way.
So yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, originally when Steven suggested it and he showed me the bottle, I was like, I feel like that's the pink lemonade that I already had. I didn't realize there was a watermelon flavor out. So,
Well, what do you guys give it on a scale of 0 to 10 Stevens?
give it 7 silent Stevens.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go like 6.5.
6.5.
6.5. Yep.
Hey, I did a half last time.
6.5. Oh yeah, no, I'm just making sure.
El Fritter.
I think I have to give it a 5.
Okay.
Like
Now is that based off your initial one, or just because you've drank so many?
It's my overall accumulation. Like I don't know. It's the average, if you will.
Okay.
Like
So I will say, based on what Tim just said, though, like, so I've only had one.
Same.
And you've had quite a few more than we have, though. So, like, based off of your first reaction to it, what would it have been?
it would have been like a 7, I think. 7 or an 8. But like the more I've been exposed to it, so like that first one, it was just kind of like, oh, this is new and different, you know? and I love watermelon, so I'm really biased. But then like I've had like, you know, 3 of these 16-ounce bottles since then, and I don't know, it's not hitting home. So yeah, I give it 5.
Well, your average is average.
Yeah.
So
All right. So moving on from that, let's get into the actual topic of today's episode,
big discussion.
which we're tentatively calling expectations versus reality. And this is essentially basically just referring to the next gen console launches. So some points that I jotted down. So it was the botch launch, right? The
Of the PS5, right?
PS5 or the Xbox. I mean, honestly, they both had really janky launches.
But Microsoft wasn't as bad, right?
It was just as bad. It
Okay.
was just as bad.
I don't pay
Well,
attention.
it was just as bad in terms of like the other part of this, which is trying to get one.
Yeah. Well, I got a story on that one, but go ahead with rest of your points.
Um, but like, everything from like the pre-orders to, Walmart jumping the gun and ruin all that, up to, the next gen games not living up to hype. Like looking at you, Godfall, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and all the bugs and glitches. Watch Dogs Legion, Cyberpunk, the fact that Xbox has like 2 maybe exclusive games, if that, that are actual next gen titles. The fact that we're still playing PS4 games on our PS5s mainly. And then like the weird free next gen upgrade process that some of these games have. It's just been, I don't know, it's just been a big mess.
Yeah. So, um, go back. What was this? What was the one above the next gen upgrade one? What was the point you made?
So like the fact that we're still playing old
Yeah.
games.
Okay. So I feel like I have a shiny new PS4.
I mean, yeah, it's like a the PS4 Pro, like it's
Yeah.
it's
Now
it's extra
I'm gonna
special.
sound a little hypocritical here, and you know what? I'm just gonna lead into it because I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, I guess. Um, when the PS4 came out, I was really upset because I couldn't play anything on it because you could only really play PS4 games. Like PS Now wasn't a thing yet. You couldn't. It wasn't backwards compatible, so you wouldn't read PS3 discs. And I was really bummed out because essentially I paid, this exorbitant amount of money to watch Netflix on it.
Or play
Because
PS1 games. It played PS1 games
that's true, that's true. But
out of
uh,
for no reason.
yeah, I spent all this money and essentially I just had a Netflix machine for the first like 6 to 8 months. And
Yeah.
I really and I said it on the first podcast when we were talking about our gaming history, and I'll say it again now. It kind of ruined buying game systems at launch for me because unless there was like a really cool title coming out with it, I didn't see the point. And as I said, I wouldn't have gotten the PS5 at launch if it wasn't for the fact that I lucked into it. Um, and then the PS5 comes out and you can play essentially the whole PlayStation 4 library. And I hate it because I feel like I paid, $500 for something I already have.
Yeah.
And like you said, the next gen games that have come out so far haven't been that great. Godfall looked awesome. It feels like it's just a mobile game.
It's so pretty. It's just so boring.
It's super boring. You can't even jump, which
No,
I
oh
don't
my
even know
god.
how you can make a PS5 game where you can't jump around. I don't understand. It feels like it's a mobile game that they put on the PS5 to me. I don't know. That's just my thought process. I didn't play Valhalla, but I know Christian has this whole thing with that. So yeah, essentially, I'm just playing a bunch of PS4 games, which is cool because I can still play them. But it's they're recording. It's February 12th. The PS5 has been out for 4 months now, and I'm still just playing PS4 games. So I don't know.
Yeah, Godfall is still, to its credit, the best looking PS5 game that I've
It's a beautiful
personally
game.
played.
It's a beautiful game. Don't get me wrong.
I haven't finished the game. None of us have. We made it like 2 levels in and stopped because it was so boring. Although, not to plug ourselves here, but we are planning on at some point potentially doing a playthrough with the three of us.
We are. That's news to me.
Surprise. Um, but like for Valhalla, so I know Christian's got something that's still going on. When I played through it, I got to a point in the game where it bugged out so hard that one of the main characters, uh, who was essential to one of the quests towards the end of the game, died. She died in a mission at some point in like the middle of the game, and I didn't catch it, didn't register until I'm trying to do this mission, and I noticed that we're in a cutscene and she's standing there and she's talking to us, and then the cutscene ends and she just drops dead on the ground. And I was like, well, that's not right. And I was like, well, whatever, as long as she's there for the cutscenes and, it still lets me go. Like, I don't really care if she's there fighting. So you get to this mission and nothing happens. Like, you get to the quest marker and nothing happens, and you go up and she's literally lying dead in front of a bunch of soldiers, and you're like, you're supposed to interact with her and you can't because she's dead. And so I ended up with like 156 hours in that game, primarily because I wanted to play it, but I had nothing else to do. So I was just wandering around until they patched it. And it took forever. And Christian, you were able to finish it, right?
Yeah, so I never had any problem with the storyline or the campaign of the game. I was able to complete it as far as that goes. But I was shooting for a platinum run, and to do a platinum in just about any Assassin's Creed game ever, you have to 100% the game, meaning collecting all the collectibles, doing all the side missions. And I literally am locked out of the platinum because of one altar. You have to donate 5 fabrics. Um, and I can't. And then fabrics are found on like random higher tier chests in the world. And through an upgrade, you're supposed to, once you get your settlement level to 6, actually buy it from the vendor. And both of those I can't. So basically, as soon as I upgraded my quiver to its max capacity, it glitched out on me to where I can't find them in the wild. And even the supposed patch that they did to fix that problem, which was when you reach settle rank 6, you're supposed to be able to buy it from the vendor in your camp, and it still doesn't sell them. So
Yeah.
I'm basically prevented from ever platinum it unless they patch the patch, I guess.
Well, and I think they've acknowledged it, right? Like they said it's coming in the next patch, but there's no date on when that's happening.
Yeah, they keep putting out a problems they're aware of list. I can't remember how they phrased it, but the list keeps growing, and I haven't seen an actual update in a while.
Yeah.
So like the known problems keep growing and growing in the length, but they haven't put out a patch in I think a couple weeks now.
That's the problem with Ubisoft games. Like I love Ubisoft. I mean, they make some amazing games. Like I'm halfway through Immortals, and Tim, you platinumed Immortals.
Yeah, and it glitched on me.
Yeah, and it did glitch on you.
Yeah, but unfortunately for me, I was able to kind of exploit it through New Game Plus, where
Right.
I don't think that's an option for Christian.
No, it's not. Yeah, because the way Valhalla works, like there's no New Game Plus, and it's very unforgiving the way it saves and everything.
But it does have DLC coming out, so I'm hoping that even if they don't patch it, if there's like a new area to explore, that maybe I can find fabric in the new area of the
Oh
DLC.
yeah, good point. Yeah,
patch it that way.
And then the other Ubisoft game that released like right at the same time was Watch Dogs, and I still haven't played it yet. I have it,
Same.
but I know Steven played it for like 2 hours and then traded it in because he hated it. And then
I haven't heard good things.
yeah, I haven't heard a single good thing about the game, and it's been on sale since day one. Like it is,
Yeah,
it's
it
been
wasn't on title.
$30 since like before it even launched. It was on pre-order for $30.
You mean like it was on sale, not like it was on sale.
Yeah. Like the pre-order was $30, and it's
Yeah.
still $30 to this day. As we're recording on February 12th, it is $30 on PSN.
Yeah, I mean,
And that could just be because they put out 3 games at one time, and they were like, we can afford to make this one 30 for whatever reason. But
well, here's the thing, and this kind of bleeds into the next topic, I guess, is that like, they put out all these games. I think they wanted to do it all so like they had PS5 games ready. But like essentially you can buy anything for the PS4 and get the free upgrade to the PS5, but you have to do this weird process that I think you and Christian have done. I haven't done it yet.
Christian's done it. Well, okay. I Well, no, I guess I didn't, because I when I got Miles Morales on the PS5, it came with the remaster for Spider-Man. Now, I did have to do part of it, which was like, in order to transfer your save files, I had to download the PS4 version and open up the PS4 version while I had the PS5 version downloaded, and then transfer the save from one to the other, and then I could delete the PS4 version. That was kind of stupid. But what Christian was going to tell us is, I think, a little even is weirder than that.
Are you talking about Borderlands?
Yeah, when you like the weird like way you had to go through to get that upgrade.
Yes, I mean it's similar to kind of how you were saying with Spider-Man, where in order to get the old save, I mean most of the PS4 saves are uploaded to the cloud automatically anyway. And so like when I turned my PlayStation 5 on for the first time, I went back and any PS4 game that I thought I may either download the PS5 version of if they came out, or just re-download the PS4 version on my PS5 to play it again, I'd go ahead and download the save so that it was there locally on my PlayStation 5 for whenever I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to download it. So then I found out that, Borderlands 3 kind of did this like weird soft launch. They just kind of secretly snuck it onto the PlayStation 5, where they had a PlayStation 5 version available for months now. But they never really like advertised it at all. It was just kind of there. And it was free to upgrade if you already had the Borderlands 3 digital or physical edition. But then you just had to go onto the store and essentially like act like you were rebuying it, but it was for $0.0. And then it gave you that access to the whole like PS4 to PS5, like you see marketed and advertised on pretty much every other launch title that came out around the PS5 launch. Um, and so, but essentially, what happened with that is even though I had those local saves from my Borderlands 3 PS4 save, I downloaded the PS5 version of Borderlands 3, try to use those saves, and it said that I couldn't. So I had to download the PS4 Borderlands 3 on my PS5 just to do a weird like sub tab upload to shoot it directly from the PS4 version to the PS5 version, then delete the PS4 version and then go back in a PS5. But it still didn't quite work because not everything. I mean, like Borderlands 3 was another one of those games that was always pretty glitchy, and they've never really fully patched the game. It does work a lot better than it on the PS5 than it did on the PS4
Mm-hmm.
with the menu systems and everything. But like with like the trophies and stuff, like I put it in and I have like a level 65 character, and like out of the 70 some trophy list, I think like 10 popped. So like it's clear that like Gearbox is not keeping up with or patching nearly the amount that they should. But I will say, as far as next gen release in general, and like with all the games we're talking about, I think I mean Godfall definitely was a disappointment. I think Godfall is really the only technically PlayStation 5 game that launched. Everything else that came out, I think, was at least
Um,
for
Demon's Souls, I think, was a PS5 exclusive. I mean, I think you can
Demon
get it.
Souls.
I think you can get it on PC, but like, as far as consoles go, I think it was just PS5.
Okay. Well then
I
then
think.
I guess yeah, by that statement, then Demon Souls is probably the only game that launched that was exclusive for the PlayStation 5 that was a success.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing about the whole launch was that you had all these games coming out, and it seemed like nobody, no developer, no publishing house was on the same page. Like you had Yakuza Like a Dragon, which had the PS4 version come out during launch window,
Yeah.
But the PS5 wasn't ready to go and still isn't out. I don't think it comes out to like next month.
Yeah, I think it's March. Yeah.
And then you have one of the biggest, most anticipated titles of the year, Cyberpunk 2077, which
We did a whole
didn't.
episode on, so
Yeah, it came out for the PS4 and Xbox One.
go back and listen to episode 1 if you want a full breakdown.
But they didn't even do a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X available at launch.
Yeah.
And at this point, God knows when those are even going to come out.
Well, they put that roadmap out that said it was supposed to come like later in the year, but I mean, who knows if that's going to happen?
Yeah, I was going to say, based on their recent history, I wouldn't trust any dates that they throw out. But
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite comparison has been the No Man's Sky developers to CD Projekt Red, where they're basically snake oil salesmen.
mm-hmm.
They both promised these fantastic, crazy, fantastical games, and that's not what we got.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of talk about like the system itself for a second here. The four of us, you, me, you, Cody, you, Christian, me, and then obviously Steven, got very lucky getting one of these systems. Cody mentioned it briefly, I think we mentioned it maybe in episode 1, I can't remember, that Walmart kind of screwed the pooch, so to speak. And
they didn't give a single
F. They the whole PlayStation Sony conference happened, and then it's gonna go on sale tomorrow, and then all of a sudden it was not tomorrow, it was right now, because Walmart decided that they were going to say, we're going to sell it, we don't really care.
Yeah, Sony's official Twitter account tweeted out after the thing. They said, because during the thing they were like, because they pre-recorded, they were like, watch our Twitter for the, following this announcement for, the pre-order date. And then they tweeted that it would be live sometime tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then not an hour later, Walmart was like, make you wait for pre-orders? Nah, we're not going to do that. And then made it live. And that was like, it's not word for word, but that's essentially what they said in their tweet.
Yeah. So we got really lucky getting one. Now I am trying to help a friend out here locate a PS5. So I'm essentially, we're both trying to get one for them. And he'll just pay me back or whatever. Obviously. So I'm not actively trying to buy one right now, but I'm, if I'm around and I see one that's going on sale, I might try to grab it for them. But let me tell you, let's just say, for instance, hey, we're going to put 20 PS5s on sale at 3:00. And then you're waiting. All right, cool. I'm going to sit out here in this lobby, and not the lobby, but the lobby of the website or whatever. And I'm going to get me, I'm trying to get one of these PS5s as soon as it hits 3:00, sold out.
Yeah.
You can't, there's no way that people are humanly fast enough to do this. So I don't know if it's companies bots trying to buy them to sell them for more right now, or people have it set up to automatically do it. I don't know. But you can't even click on it to add it into a cart to buy one right now. So I don't know what happened, because you also mentioned that, the Xbox kind of was botched too. And I really kind of want to I don't want to, obviously, we can blame it on the global pandemic happening right now, but I really think that's a big part of it, because, we all have a friend named Matt who has never pre-ordered any gaming system before. He's always just walked into a Best Buy or a GameStop and just picked one up because they've just been there, but you can't really do that right now.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it's a combination of bots, because that is a big problem right now. People are setting up bots to buy them the second they go on sale, and then they try and price gouge and scalp them on eBay for thousands or whatever. But the other part of it is that there's people that are literally just sitting there spamming the button, their mouse, and then like the literal, millisecond that it's up, they can snag it. And it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's an absolute mess. I mean, the fact that uh Steven, myself, and Tim were able to get one on Target's website that first night was baffling.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know at least twice, um, trying to get one, I was able to put it in my cart, and then going to the next screen, it would say it was sold out, and then it just worked once, and
To be
then
fair, I really truly think that like even Target and Walmart, because once Walmart said we're going to do it, everybody started doing it.
yeah,
They weren't actually selling PS5s. They were selling places in line for you to get a PS5,
right,
and they were just using your payment to then pay off that PS5. So it was almost like you were giving Walmart or Target $500 of your money, and then they're like, okay, when the next one pops up for us, that's yours.
yeah,
So we didn't necessarily buy one. We bought a place in line, and then they just gave us that PS5.
yeah. It was a mess because I mean, the way that I actually ended up getting my PS5 and Christian's PS5 through that whatever Sony lottery thing that they
Lottery,
did,
yeah.
like even that was real sketchy because like I was saying when I got mine, so I got Christian's pre-ordered when I in the time allotted that they gave me in the first email where they were like, you know, be in the queue or whatever like at noon, and then it'll go live at 1 o'clock, and then you'll be able to put it in your cart and pre-order it. So I did that, and it went really smooth. And then by all accounts, it still should have been sold out like later that day, but I was still able to get back onto that website, which was only supposed to be, one per person or whatever, and pre-order one for myself.
Yeah.
So there was stuff happening behind the scenes. Like Sony definitely had more consoles than,
I mean, they said they did.
you know,
They
but
said they
even
had enough consoles for like an actual full launch. They just, for whatever reason, weren't putting them out.
yeah. But the thing that in terms of like being able to get one, the same thing happened to Xbox. Like they did, however, go on pre-order when they said they was going to go on pre-order, but um, they were gone the second they were on pre-order. So people
Yeah.
still couldn't get one, and people are still having issues getting one to this day, which was the big issue,
Well,
like you were saying.
don't play Microsoft.
Well,
Just
I
kidding.
mean PS5s too. That's the
Yeah. Well, I mean, let me put it this way: if you're listening to this podcast right now and you do not have a PS5, um, wait, just wait because they have enough. You'll get one eventually. It'll eventually get to a point where it all equalizes out, and people aren't trying to go goo goo gaga over trying to get one right now. Because let me tell you right now, you're essentially just playing your PS4. It's on a PS5,
yeah.
so you're not really missing a whole lot. If there was like God of War Ragnarok out right now, or I don't even know what other major title off the top of my head that I can think of
Ratchet
that
and
might.
Clank.
Ratchet and Clank, that doesn't even come out until the summer. So like you have another like 4 or 5 months that you really aren't really missing out on anything. So just wait, hang in there, try again. Maybe wait a couple months, try again in the summer. Like I said, you're not missing anything because you're just playing PS4 games right now.
My advice to that would be, if you want to try and get one, try and get one, but don't go crazy trying to get one. Do sort
Don't pay
of
thousands of dollars to people on
yeah,
eBay. That's
definitely
why this is happening.
don't do that.
Just let it sit there and just like, sorry, you bought that.
Yeah, just do what Tim's doing, trying to get one for his bud. Just if you see that they might go on sale, open the site. But don't get your hopes up. Don't go crazy trying to get one. If you get one, you get one. But like he's saying, like honestly, it's okay that you don't have one.
Right
I
now,
hope that you get one. I really truly do. But right now, there is no big difference, no real difference in the PS4 to the PS5 in terms of what you can play.
honestly, like right now, yeah, with what you can play, you could probably wait until early 2022 before I would be like, you probably really need one now.
Yeah.
Like you could go 2021 with just your PlayStation 4. Because here's the thing, even the games that are going to be coming on the PS5, I still think there's going to be PS4 supported versions of these.
Well,
So
there's a lot of games that are coming out, new games that aren't coming out for the PS5, like
yeah,
Biomutant. I
yeah,
can't wait to get Biomutant, but it's coming out on the PS4, not the 5.
yeah. So like you're not missing anything right now until like later half of the year when some bigger titles might drop. It's fine. You can probably wait until and I know like I'm a little bit hypocritical again because I'm saying this as somebody who has it, but as somebody who has it, I don't really feel like I'm missing. I feel like, again, I said it earlier, I feel like I paid $500 for something that's sitting right here behind me that I already had. It's just right now it's just not. I mean, obviously it's great if you have a PS5. I'm not knocking it, but like it's not worth it to like
It's
try to like spend every living moment
yeah,
trying to get one.
it's not worth the stress that people
No,
have
yeah,
over it
there's
right
other
now.
things to be stressed
Yeah.
about.
Um,
Gaming is supposed to be fun, so if you can't get a PS5, just wait. You'll get one.
yeah.
Trust me. Sony wants your money. Sony wants your money.
And to be real, I still like I gave my PS4 to my sister when I got my 5, but like I still like I'll go and like she'll be doing homework or something and be like, don't mind me, I'm just getting on the PS4 for a second, and I still have to go onto my account on the 4 to buy or rent movies because
Yeah,
there's no video option on the PS5.
yeah, that actually does upset me a little bit. That like, there's no video buying rental kind of thing
But
on it. It's weird.
they're still selling them. Sony's still selling them, and they're still doing sales. They're just happening on the PS4.
Yeah,
It's
that's weird
so
that they didn't
dumb.
port that over. You think? I mean, that'll probably come out like a patch or something
I think
sometime.
that they're slowly doing it
Yeah,
because until like last week or the week before, there wasn't even like a deals page. You had to hunt and search for any kind of like discount, page that they were running. But now there's an actual deals tab in the store. But like, I feel like they're just slowly putting these features out. And I don't know why.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just short staff because of whatever.
COVID, whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know. But
but like I feel like the PS4 was ready to go and it didn't have anything to play,
yeah,
and the PS5 is not ready to go and it has a bunch of PS4 titles you can play.
yeah.
Is essentially what it
I
boils
mean,
down
it
to.
has PS5 games. Don't get us wrong. When we say like there's no PS5 games, we mean like there's no like straight up PS5 only games, like as in like Godfall. Like you can't get Godfall on the PS4. That's what we mean by that.
Yeah,
Like obviously Valhalla and Watch Dogs, they are PS5 games, but they're not PS5 exclusive or next gen exclusive. Like they're still on the previous gen systems. So like there are games to play on a PS5 and the Xbox Series X. They're just not solely made for the next gen consoles. That's sort of what to clear that up. But yeah, I don't know, Christian. How do you feel about that? Should people even bother trying to get one or?
So, I mean, I will say, regardless of whether you're playing a PlayStation 4 game, PlayStation 5 game, just the very like upgraded one of the PlayStation 4 games you had, it does run better. And I will say that, like, if you have a PlayStation 4 Pro, there is not really a reason to go out and get a PlayStation 5 at the moment. Um, if you have like the base PlayStation 4 from when it first launched, and you're just looking for a operating system and a bit of an increase in operating power, then yeah, like you will notice a difference both graphically and enhanced and everything. But it's not. There is no exclusives besides Demon Souls yet that I mean, even with that, like, it's not enough to make you go out and spend $500 on a new console.
Mm-mm.
So I don't think, like Tim was saying earlier, I don't think you'll hit the point where like you need to have one until either the very late this year or even early 22.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think that's the sad reality of this current gen, next gen, whatever console.
I mean, every generation starts off slow. The PS4 started off slow. It takes time to build a library and whatnot. Like, I'm not hating on Sony.
Oh, no.
In a year from now, I'm like, the PS5 is the greatest thing ever. But like, it just is unfortunate right now because there are people trying to get this right now, and I just want to stress that, like, if you don't have it right now, it's not as big of a deal as you think it is.
It's okay that you don't
Promise
have
you.
one.
And I know that the grass is always greener on the other side situation, but like, it's okay. You will get one eventually. Sony wants your money,
Yeah.
and it's really not worth the investment right now. Especially like if Christian said, if you have a PlayStation Pro, really just kind of hang out.
No,
Just
like
hang.
for real, like because I have a Pro. Well, my sister does now. And to be honest with you, like the graphics outside of like Godfall and Demon Souls, because they were made specifically for these consoles, there is such a small difference in terms of graphics on these games, like Valhalla and whatnot. They look very similar, if not identical, on the previous gen consoles. Yeah, if you have a Pro, just keep it. Just keep it and wait.
Just keep it and wait. Hashtag cast the rock.
All right, guys. I think that's it for this one.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Both of those are at SKO Entertainers. Or you can visit our website, skoentertainment.net, for some more information on how to reach us. Also, check out our Twitch channel, Some Kind of Entertainment, where we do play games on occasion. And finally, guys, please don't forget to join us next week, because even on the best of days, we all need some kind of entertainment. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
see ya.